Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Blevin Robinson with West Coast Cajun Cuisine, and today's video, blackened chicken Alfredo with the homemade pasta. Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. If this is your first time here and you're interested in learning how to cook authentic Cajun cuisine, comfort food, and just about anything for that matter, then you've come to the right place. Click that subscription button and that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Now today's video, blackened chicken Alfredo with the homemade pasta. You know what? This one was so good, I'm not even gonna talk anymore. We're gonna go straight to the kitchen so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, here we are. We're gonna go ahead and get started by going over these ingredients first. Now for the pasta, I have 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of olive oil, and 2 eggs beaten. Now for the blackened chicken Alfredo, I have 1 cup of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 garlic cloves, chicken breast. We're gonna do some freshly grated Parmesan cheese, and this is blackened seasoning. We're gonna season the chicken with this. I will leave the recipe for this in the description below. I will also leave a card up here to a link to a video that I did for how to make blackened chicken. We're gonna follow that exact process, except for this time, we're gonna cut this chicken up and put it into some Alfredo sauce. So let's get started. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the pasta. I'm gonna go ahead and use my mixer. This just makes life much easier for me. You can actually do this by hand. You can put your flour in a bowl, get you one of those spatulas, mix it up, or you can mound your flour onto a work surface like a cutting board, make a well, and pour your eggs and stuff in the middle and just kind of work it with your hands. But like I said, I have a mixer, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it. And if you have one, follow along. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this paddle attachment on here. And then pour in the flour. The egg. Salt, and the olive oil. Start this off on low. And basically we're just going to let this mix until this forms a dough. And then we are going to transfer it to a work surface and knead it. All right, our dough is ready. I just wanted to give you a quick look at it before I moved it to my cutting board. And this is what it should look like. Nice and ready to be worked. I'm gonna go ahead and get it off this paddle. And then I'm gonna move it to a floured work surface. All right, I got my cutting board here. We're gonna go ahead and flour this up. So we're gonna have to work this dough. Okay, I also want to get some flour on my hands. Hold on a second, take that wedding ring off. All right, let's go ahead and grab this dough. And now, see, not too bad there. We got a nice little dough. It's pretty thick. We're gonna go ahead and knead it now. What we're gonna do is just 90 degrees, fold it, press it, fold it, press it, and that's it, just like this. And we're gonna work this for probably 10 to 15 minutes. We want to get the gluten built up in the dough. And for you gluten-free people, sorry, but this is not a gluten-free dish. So I'm just gonna go ahead and work this for about 10 to 15 minutes or so, and you can feel it. I mean, it's gonna start getting kind of rough, you know, kind of hard. Don't be scared that you're gonna work this dough too much. It's pasta, you need to work it that much. So I'm just gonna keep doing this right here until I feel like I had enough, and I'll be back. All right, we're back. I got this all kneaded. I got a nice little ball of dough here, and the next thing we want to do is wrap it in some plastic wrap. This is a very important part to this now. Do not skip out on this, okay? You need to have time. You need to put away some time to go ahead and make this pasta. because what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap this up. Just like so, get a nice little tight wrap here. So we're gonna go ahead and let this rest for about 30 minutes to an hour. The longer the better, because what's gonna happen is that gluten is gonna relax, this dough is gonna get soft again, it's gonna be very pliable, and we're gonna be able to make pasta with this. Now, in the meantime, while this is resting, we're gonna go ahead and get to that blackened chicken Alfredo. All right, let's go ahead and prep this chicken. Now, when I do blackened chicken, I like the chicken breast to be thin. We're gonna cook this on a high heat. We want that season to sear and make a crust on that one side. It's almost gonna look burnt, but it's not. That's why they call it blackened chicken. It's actually all the seasoning that gives it that kind of burnt color. And when your chicken breast is too thick, you have a tendency to burn it because you're trying to cook it all the way through. And because we're cooking on such a high temperature, we're gonna go ahead and thin it out. Now, usually I will buy some chicken breast that is already thinly sliced, but I don't have that today. So what we're gonna do is I put this chicken breast in between two pieces of plastic wrap, and we're gonna pound it thin with my trusty old rubber mallet. Now, if you've seen my pork tenderloin video, then you guys know all about this thing right here. This does wonders. So let's go ahead and thin out this piece of chicken. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove this chicken breast, put it on a plate, then we're gonna season it and get it ready to cook. All right, now that we've thinned out this chicken breast, we're gonna go ahead and season it. And I season it very liberally, but I only season one side because we put so much seasoning on it. It only needs to be seasoned on one side. And that's the side that's gonna give it that nice blackened look, that nice crust. And trust me, you're gonna get plenty of flavor just by seasoning it on this one side. And as you can tell, it's pretty well coated here. Like I said, guys, go check out that Blackened Season video. I'm gonna get all the details on how we do this. I'm gonna let this sit for a few minutes, let that seasoning penetrate this chicken breast, and I'm gonna go ahead and preheat our skillet. All right, I have some grapeseed oil heated up in this skillet. We're gonna go ahead and lay this in there. I got this on a medium-high heat. I wanna go season side down. Oh yeah, that's what you want to hear right there. Just let that baby sizzle away. Ooh, it's popping all over the place. And we're gonna let it go. Not gonna mess with it. What I want is to get a nice crust on that seasoned side of the chicken. So we're just gonna let this cook only about 3.5 minutes, 3 to 3.5 minutes. Then we're gonna flip another 3.5 minutes or so, and then that's it. We'll be done. Get ready to make that Alfredo sauce. Be back in a second. All right, it's been about 3 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and check this chicken here real quick. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Blackened chicken. We're gonna let this other side cook for another 3 minutes or so. We're gonna pull it off the heat and then get our Alfredo sauce ready. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put the finishing touches on this pasta before we get ready to cook it. The first thing we're gonna do is, as you can see here, this is that ball of dough that we made earlier. It's been sitting here, nice and soft and pliable now that it's been sitting for a while. All right, before I take it out of here, what I wanna do is flour my board again. Not too much, just enough to keep it from sticking. All right, one thing first, as you can tell, I have this KitchenAid attachment on here. Now look, this is possible by hand. You can roll this out with a rolling pin, and you wanna roll it out super, super thin, all right? 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, to where you can almost see through the dough, all right? And then you wanna flour it really well, and then fold it in like fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then you can slice it thin to the size width of noodle you would like. But I have this attachment here, and for the sake of this video, it's gonna make it much easier, much quicker, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that. Now this is an attachment that helps roll the dough out, right? And then once we get the dough to the thickness we like and to the length we like, we're gonna remove this attachment, and then here's another one that we're gonna do, and this is the fettuccine noodle cutting attachment. So we're gonna go ahead and put this one on after we get the dough to where we want it and cut the noodles. And you'll see how this thing works. It's beautiful. You can look. You can consider this like a mini review. If you have a KitchenAid, go get you the pasta attachment. It comes with 3 attachments. The dough roller, that's what I'm gonna call it. The fettuccine attachment, and then there's a spaghetti one as well. All right, so let's go ahead and remove the dough from this plastic wrap here. It has rested nicely, as you can see. Oh, nice and soft. All right, so this will make a pretty decent amount of pasta. I could probably feed my family of 5 on this pasta. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in quarters because it's only me, and I don't need that much, okay? Put that over there. Honestly, this is gonna probably make enough pasta for me. All right, so now I have the size piece that I like. I'm gonna go ahead and flatten it out just a little bit because we're gonna run it through this press here. I don't know if you can see this, but this press has numbers on it 1 all the way through 8. And that's how the thickness of the pasta. We're gonna start off with 1 and go through each one of those until we reach 8. So we're gonna run it through each step here until we get the final thickness we want. And as this goes through, you're gonna see it's gonna get longer. We're gonna cut it because we don't want an 8-foot long freaking noodle, right? So we're gonna cut it to the noodle length that we like, and then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna turn this on low. We're on number 1. We're gonna run this through. And there it goes. And as you can see, it's already getting longer. I'm just gonna flour it like this, okay? I'm gonna move to number 2 now and run it through again. As you can see, it's getting thinner and longer. Number 3. Move on to the next one, so on and so on. So we just keep doing this till we get to 8. And if this dough gets too long, I will cut it in half. It's like I said, we don't want noodles that are 8 foot long by any means. See, that's getting about as long as I would want it. So we're gonna go to number 6 here. And by the time we get to 8, we're probably gonna cut this dough. And this doesn't take long. Not long at all. And as you can tell, look how long this has gotten already. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in half. Like so. But what I wanna do is I wanna flour the dough. I do not want it sticking. This is gonna help work it if we keep it floured. Right? A little much, but that's okay. That does not matter. We're gonna bring this one over. We're gonna use that flour. Same thing. Make sure we just get a little flour on here. This just makes it much easier to work with. This is not really going to make the dough any more stiff or anything. And if it gets wrinkled or whatever, it doesn't matter. This is gonna flatten it out, so don't worry about that. That's why this piece is so long. Ooh, hitting the camera there. That's why this piece is so long. And so it just got all wrinkled there, and look, it just made it narrower. That's all it did. Gonna go here to number 8. This is the last one. Hopefully I don't hit the camera again. Run that through. And there we go. Last one here. All right, so now that we got to the desired thickness, let's go ahead and turn this off. Now we got to this desired thickness, I'm gonna go ahead and replace the attachment with the actual fettuccine attachment. And this is where we're gonna make noodles, right here. So let's go ahead and turn that back on to low. And here we go, guys. Just take this first one and run it right through, just like that. And boom, on the other side, we have fettuccine. Now, once you do this, let's go ahead and do this other one. And I'll show you what I'm about to say here. Here we go. Fresh homemade pasta. Let me tell you something. If you haven't had fresh pasta, man, it is like night and day compared to the dry stuff. All right. So now that we have this pasta, what you want to do is put a little flour on it, because now that you've cut it, you don't want it to, the sides to stick to each other. So we put a little flour and then we just toss it like this. Boom, there you go. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this towel and cover up the pasta so it doesn't dry out. We're gonna set everything up over the stove because I'm gonna have 2 pots going at once, the sauce pot, the pasta pot, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next. All right, I have a stock pot about 1/3 full of water here. We're just gonna go ahead and salt it liberally. I'm gonna give that pasta a little flavor. All right. All right, we're gonna let that water come up to a boil. And in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and work on this Alfredo sauce. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is add our butter. Now this is a classic French Alfredo sauce. And the idea behind this is just a reduction, right? So we're gonna reduce this cream. We're gonna add our garlic. And yes, we're adding our garlic whole. And the reason is because we're not actually going to keep the garlic in here. We just want to flavor the sauce. So we're going to go ahead and cook this just for a couple of minutes. We're going to add our cream, and we're going to actually end up removing the garlic here before it's all over with. So we just have these cloves in here to flavor our sauce. And then I'm just going to cook it in this butter here for a few minutes. Pretty much just flavoring this butter here real quick with the garlic. Now that that's come down in temperature a little bit, we're going to go ahead and add our cream. Now basically what we're going to do is just stir this, and we're going to reduce the cream down to a sauce consistency. This is basically just a reduction. And that's how we're going to make our Alfredo sauce. So we're going to let this come up to a simmer, and then we're just going to simmer it down until I can run the spoon down the middle and it leaves a little trail. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a few. So we'll be right back. All right, so our cream is coming up to a nice boil here. Well, let's go ahead and turn the fire down a little bit. We just want it to simmer, so we don't want to scorch the cream. And as this simmers down, it's going to get flavored by that garlic. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper here at the end of it. But honestly, that chicken, all the seasoning from that chicken, it's going to flavor this sauce fairly nicely. So we're going to go ahead and let this reduce. And then we'll be back shortly. All right, so we've been reducing this cream down quite a bit. And as you can see, when you run the spoon, almost there. You can almost see that little trail. See the bottom of the pan. I want it to stay just a little bit longer than that. And I've been coming in here and just kind of stirring a little bit. We don't want to scorch the cream. About every 30 seconds or so, every minute, I just come in here and give it a quick little mix. We are almost there. And if you find that you've reduced it too much and it's a little bit thick, you just add a little more cream, that's all. And look, just in this little bit of time, you can see I can almost go all the way across the pan here before it gets covered up again. Okay, I like that. So what I'm going to do now is remove the garlic. We don't need that anymore. That's done its job. This little piece down here. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the cheese. Fresh grated Parmesan. Let's go ahead and give this a mix. And this is going to thicken it up some. And as you can see, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on low. And I'm going to end up probably adding a little bit more cream, but also the pasta water that's left on the pasta when we go to transfer it is going to lighten this sauce up some. So keep that in mind as well. And you can see already in this that little bit of time here how much it's thickened up. I mean, that's Alfredo right there, guys. And it's probably going to thicken up a little bit more. All right, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and add a little bit more cream. Oh yeah, this is going to be good. Okay, yep. And yeah, that might look like I watered it down some, but that's okay because I'm going to add some more cheese. And I like to add the cheese before I add the salt, because Parmesan is already a little bit of salty. So you want to add the cheese first, then check for seasoning, and then go from there. And then we're also going to add the chicken. Chicken was already seasoned pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty nice there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab the chicken. And as you can see, I went ahead and cut that chicken up into little bite-sized pieces. I'm going to go ahead and add that to the sauce. We're going to go ahead and give this a nice little stir. Get this well coated. And it's going to turn your sauce a little bit, maybe like an orange color or reddish, because of the seasoning from the chicken. That's okay. That just means it's good. So now the chicken is nice and coated. Let's go ahead and give this a taste. Oh man, that is so good right there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is go ahead and add a little bit of salt and pepper to it. Not a whole lot. Just a little pinch of kosher salt here. A little bit of pepper. Give that a nice mix. And there we go. Our sauce is ready. All right, and let's do the pasta. Now the reason why I did it this way is because, like I said before, that pasta is going to take literally 1 minute. So we're going to go ahead and get that pasta going right now. All right, I got our pasta in the bowl here, just waiting to be put in this water and just get delicious. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Now, it wasn't a whole lot of pasta. And as you can see, the water kind of dropped the temperature just a little bit, but it's coming up pretty quick. So I'm going to set this timer for 1 minute, and we're going to pull this pasta here when that timer goes off and go right into the sauce. Woo! Man, you guys don't know what you're in for. All right, so you heard the timer go off. We're just going to go ahead right now. Going to pull this pasta out right into the sauce. We're going to let it drain just a little bit. I don't want that much pasta water in here. Nice, well-coated pasta. All right. Let's plate this up and eat. This is smelling delicious, and I can't wait. Let's do this. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, finished product. I went ahead and plated it up, let it cool a little bit. This is how you step up blackened chicken. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Oh man, just the noodles first. Wow. Oh my Lord. Look, you gotta try fresh pasta if you haven't done before. That Alfredo sauce is so simple. Just a cream reduction, a little butter, garlic, that we remove. We didn't even leave the garlic there. We just used it to flavor the sauce. A little bit of salt and pepper. But the chicken, the blackened chicken, just gives this whole dish. It just brings it up to a whole nother level. This is really good. Very simple to make. You know, aside from having to make your own pasta. I mean, that can be a little bit of work, but even if you're using dry pasta, try the Alfredo sauce. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, blackened chicken Alfredo. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. I'd really appreciate that. Now, look, if you don't want to go through the trouble of making your own pasta, that's fine. I get it. You can use your dry pasta. It's totally fine. Just follow that Alfredo recipe and you won't be disappointed. I promise. Next week's video will be a dry rub for barbecue that I'm going to show you. It's going to be a pretty quick video, but it's a two-part video because the one after that we'll be smoking some ribs on Weber kettle that I got for Father's Day. So one video I'll show you how to make the rub, and we'll probably do a barbecue sauce as well, and then the next video we'll smoke the ribs. So I'll see you guys next week.